Hi, everyone, and welcome to StudioJake. Excuse my voice. My allergies are acting up big time. There's been a lot of wind here in Arizona, so it's really been making me sneeze and blow my nose and all kinds of things. So, apologies for that. I, of course, am your host, Jacob Airy. Welcome to my vidcast where I talk about all kinds of things related to pop culture. I talk about comic books, film, anime, animation, which that is going to be the topic of today. So, Paramount Pictures just released a trailer for their upcoming reboot of the Ninja Turtles, which is titled Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. It's planning on being released this year, right around my birthday, August 4th, a couple of weeks before my birthday. And oh my gosh, I don't even know where to begin with this. So I watched the trailer, and the trailer was incredibly bland. For one thing, they casted the characters as with Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, Raphael. They cast them with actors who aren't voicing them like they're teenagers. They sound like they're all 11. If you listen to especially Mikey, which I get Mikey is kind of the youngest, even though technically they're all the same age. Mikey always acts as the youngest of the turtles, but they all still sounded like teenagers. This was really clear in the 80s show and in the 2000s show that I watched. They did a good job of making them sound like teenagers, even though they were all voiced by adults. They all sound like they're 11. They don't sound like teenagers. And they certainly don't sound like New Yorkers. Like, this is their whole thing, is they're proud to be from New York City. They're proud to be, from that. They always say that it's the greatest city, which I disagree with this, obviously, but they are from New York, and I appreciate the lore. But they don't sound like New Yorkers. They just sound like 11-year-olds talking. And of course, what's another thing? So Leatherhead is a character from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He is a mutant similar to them, but instead of a turtle, he's an alligator. And of course, we've got to have the gender swap. So he's not going to be voiced by, say, Danny Trejo. No, they're going to have him be voiced by Rose Byrne, who, by the way, is a good actress. Nothing against her personally, but why? Why? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Why not have her voice Karai? Or oh yeah, sorry, we can't do that, right? It can't do that. That would be bad, even though it's animation. But whatever. They could have had anyone else do this. And also, there's been like this recent thing where they want to bring in Bebop and Rocksteady, who were characters from the '80s show. They weren't really connected to the Ninja Turtles comic books. And they were great for that show, by the way. Nothing against the characters being in that show, but they weren't really part of the bigger Ninja Turtle universe till much later. And recently, they've kind of got a little bit of a boost because they were featured in the Michael Bay produced films, which I think are underrated and overhated. I actually kind of enjoyed those movies. They at least acted and sounded more like teenagers. I thought Megan Fox was okay as April O'Neil, but it is what it is. But you know, and also they're doing this thing where of course, they're going to race swap April O'Neil. So now instead of her being kind of an Irish background like she was in the comic books, they've made her black, like the Nickelodeon show Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was a terrible show. I don't care what anyone says. It was bad. It made Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 look like a work of pure cinema. I mean, that's how bad it was. And they race swapped her there. And I thought, as soon as that happened, I thought, oh, this is going to be, because Nickelodeon actually bought the complete rights to the Ninja Turtles. So it's not even that they just have, the licensing to do film. They actually own Ninja Turtles. They bought it off of Mirage Studios, which their license had been bought out by Dreamwave and then IDW, and I think now a different comic company is doing them. I can't remember. I'm not really up on their comic books. They're newer ones, but of course they're going to race swap her. And someone pointed out this. There's these TikTokers who only watched Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so they think they know everything about Ninja Turtles. They didn't read the comics, they didn't watch the previous shows or the previous films, so, but they think they know everything because they watched this one thing and maybe played a video game once. That we're seeing the same thing happen with Batman, where they're trying to gaslight you and say, oh, it was always this way, or there was this version here, or it was always that way. And Young Rikpa 59, Eric July, on his Twitter, he did a really good breakdown of the history of April O'Neil in the comics, and how this is just gaslighting from these fake fans that don't really know anything about the Ninja Turtles. And this just goes to show you one of the things, I mentioned Bebop and Rocksteady. Seth Rogen is voicing this, and he is all over the branding of this. It comes up from permanent teenager Seth Rogen, which I think it's kind of funny because he, again, doesn't act like a teenager. He acts more like a typical petulant child from Hollywood. It's like they never grow up because they always get everything handed to them so easily. Seth Rogen is the one who said, who responded to someone who got their car broken into. It's like, just buy another car. I don't see a car as an extension of myself. What a elitist moron. And also, one thing too about Rogan is if you've watched everything post him throwing James Franco under the bus after Franco got Me Too'd, it's all garbage. Like, he can't ever latch onto something that's any good, but Hollywood has to redeem him because he threw James Franco under the bus, right? James Franco became one of these people who was persona non grata based on allegations that, Franco says are not what they seem. And, it's all he said, she said. There's no evidence that anything inappropriate happened, or at least anything illegal. But no, Seth Rogen's going to throw him under the bus. But then when people see that that of their relationship, that because they used to do all these movies and TV shows stuff together, they used to do all these projects, and they see now that Franco has been forced out of that friendship, that Seth Rogen is not that talented. Everything was James Franco was clearly the genius behind that duo, behind that comedy duo. And without him, he's been nothing. I mean, just look at his Santa Claus show. Everyone hated it. Like, not even his allies in the media could cover for him. They all said it was terrible. And, the same can be said, his when he voiced a character, or several characters, at least in cameo, in Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers reboot, that terrible movie. And he was bad in that, too. American Pickle, he made that after his relationship with James Franco ended, and it's a terrible movie. It's not good. The best thing he's done that I've heard was when he was in that movie, or that miniseries about Pamela Anderson, where he just basically played himself in it. This weak sort of beta male who has to rely on other people and kowtow to things, and he has to steal to get what he wants. That's basically what Seth Rogen is. He's not talented other than his weird voice. He's not talented outside of that. And I just think this is going to be dead on arrival. As Eric July says, I think that this is going to be, everyone's going to be disappointed with the final product. The Ninja Turtles won't be redeemed or brought back. Everyone's going to go back and watch the 2000s show or the 80s show and the films. And I think that, like I said, I think the Michael Bay produced Ninja Turtle movies were good. I think they were underrated and overhated. I'm not saying they're perfect films or even better than the first three. I'm not saying that at all. But I do think that they were good for what they were trying to do, what they were trying to accomplish. And they did a good job of tapping into sort of that comic book side as well as the TV show side, like the Utroms and the whole Bebop and Rocksteady introduction. I actually thought Tyler Perry was a good Baxter Stockman, and the guy they got to play Shredder was great. Same with the person they got to play Splinter. I do think the whole big reveal toward the end was, a little weird, but I also like the guy that got to play Casey Jones. And like I said, Megan Fox made an all right April O'Neil. But with this, it's clear that this movie is going to be a disaster. The animation doesn't look that great. It looks like they're trying to copy Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. It doesn't look that good. The only positive thing I can say about it is that Jackie Chan will voice Master Splinter. So that's at least good. We'll just have to wait and see. But honestly, I don't, just judging by this new trailer that was released, I'm not impressed by it. And I'm not as big into the Ninja Turtles as say I am into Batman or Star Wars or Gundam or whatever. But I would say that they were a big part of my childhood years. And Seth Rogen, he didn't watch the Ninja Turtles. Don't listen to these Hollywood people. They didn't watch what you watch. They were watching the opera or black and white movies or whatever. They weren't, and nothing against those things. I'm sure they're fine. But when they don't know, they are out of touch with reality and with what these properties represent. And I guarantee you it's going to be that way for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up, that you'll leave me a comment and tell me what you think, that you'll share it out with your friends, and of course, consider subscribing to Studio Jake. I cover all kinds of nerd and pop culture topics, including film, television, anime, comic books, and so much more. I hope that you'll also head over to my main website, StudioJakeMedia.com, where I have even more news, views, and commentary. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, head over to my locals page. That's studiojakemedia.locals.com. It's the best way to support me. I'm trying to build a little community there. I have exclusive reviews and articles, so definitely head over there and check it out. And I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.